Hey everyone, it's Summer with AstariaSen, and we are on another Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays, and this one's about foraging and herbs around your area. And my foraging has come from my property. I own 320 acres, and I foraged, as you just saw, some basically wild sagebrush, which is not exactly the same as regular sage, but here in Wyoming we have, I think, 16 different species of sagebrush, and the ones that I was picking was called big sage and mountain sage, and then they kind of like intermingle together to create another kind of sage too, and that's all on my property. And it's just a ton of sage, and the Native Americans use it for their cleansing and smudging and stuff like that, because we don't have like white sage and stuff like that that grows around here. We need a really hardy sage, and the sage, the big sage and the mountain sage are really important around here for animals, especially during winter, because they're an evergreen. And so they stay green all winter long, even in the freezing cold temperatures. And because they have some pointy ends, like you saw in the video, they kind of stick up out of the snow, depending on how high the snow is. And so the animals can get to it, like the deer and the antelope. I'm not sure if the cows eat it or not, but they might, and stuff like that. So they're able to forage and feed themselves during the winter. So they're kind of like a protector. They're also an evergreen, and they do talk to each other too. Not necessarily like trees talk to each other, but in the sense that because sage grows in groups like communities, the sagebrush, it grows in groups like communities. If like say ants are attacking one of the sagebrush and killing it, it'll emit like it's not necessarily a pheromone, but it's something kind of similar to that. I don't remember the exact name, but emits this thing that tells the sagebrush around it that something's attacking it, and gives the other sagebrush the option to protect themselves, because they actually change their chemical makeup to either make themselves poisonous to the ants or make it to where they smell bad and the ants don't want to go near them, which is really neat, right? And I don't know if it's just ants. It could be any kind of like ant or bug or something like that. So I thought that was really neat. They don't, like I said, they don't talk like trees, but they do talk to each other in these big communities. So that's really neat too. So up next, I'm going to be showing you a couple of the things that I have been foraging, like my dandelions and stuff like that. And then I'll show you them dried. And then at the very end, I will show you how I contain my things and a couple other herbs that I have been collecting over the last couple of months. All right, here we go. All right, so it's really windy out. Sorry about that, but this is for getting the herbs and stuff out of your garden. And I've been doing a lot with dandelions. And when you pick your dandelions, you want them to be very open. And you're just going to pull the tops off, just the tops. If you just want the heads, if you're going to do stuff with the heads, like I like making the dandelion tea out of the heads. And you can use the leaves too. I already have some leaves inside, but it is the dandelion heads I am after today. And they are bee friendly, so you don't want to pick too many of them. And you can see like some of these haven't opened yet. Sorry about that. I apparently forgot to turn off my volume. But some of these haven't opened yet, so you can see that. The one thing I have noticed about dandelions is they do like the ants and stuff like them. On this one, you can see how this one's more open than that one. So I just picked the more open ones that I can find. And unfortunately, the ones that are in my yard are probably, in this front part, are probably getting ready to be sprayed. So I won't be able to do this again this year. I've let them go as long as I possibly can. So I'm just going to pick and choose what I need. And then these guys will be done for this year. We have dandelions most of the time during the summer. It's really interesting. And I've got dandelions I can get out of my alley too, because they don't really spray the alleys here. So I have a lot of options available to me, so my front yard's not my only option. So anyways, this is my dandelion picking, so I'm going to finish doing this, and then I will be back to show you more. Alright, so here I have some dandelion leaves. These are some dried dandelions that I've done. Some dried mint, and then this is dried sagebrush up here. And then this is the herb sage, the sage herb, which is related more to the mint family, whereas the sagebrush is not. But this is the one like you would use for baking and stuff like that. So I picked a few of these and I have them dried out pretty much too. All right, next I have limbs from my big wild rose bush. I've had my wild rose bush for probably 4 years. And so I've got all different kinds of limbs that I trim off each year. This year I decided to keep a whole pile of them as foraging material. These ones right here might make some really good wands, but you can see here there's some really good thorns on these guys. And then you can see the older limbs versus the newer limbs for sure. But yeah, these are fun to forage, and rose wands are apparently good for love magic and stuff like that. And I'm assuming including self-love magic, but some of these sticks are really cool. I've got a whole pile of them. This is just a few of them, so I thought I'd share that with you too. All right, and we're back. So this is what I do. Like, you saw the dried mint, and I crushed it in my mortar and pestle, and I have it in this. This is the first time I've done a lot of foraging. So the mint smells really good when it's crushed. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna use it for yet. I think that I'll probably use it for maybe some prosperity or something like that. Dandelions. This is what I keep my dandelions in right now. I do have to be careful. I actually keep the lid off most of the time because moisture getting down inside there like makes them a little bit softer, and I don't really want them to be soft. I want them to be not soft. A lot of the dandelions that I had picked will be going in an exchange with Jessica over at Pagan Pathways, who is also part of Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays. All right, and then in light of the dandelions, I did find a dandelion that was seeding. So I did, and this is such a tedious process. I never realized how tedious it was because I'd never ever done this before. But I foraged little tiny wishes, guys. Look at this. Isn't it neat? They look amazing in the jar. I just love it. But it took me a little while, and I had to pick each one of these off individually and stick them down inside the jar. So I foraged these, and what I'm going to do with these is I'll probably make special things for friends who might be having a bad day. Or maybe I'll add it to my altar when I'm doing my bay leaves and hope and wish towards somebody for healing or a better day or better dreams, whatever I'm going for that day with my bay leaves and stuff, because most of you know that I burn bay leaves at my altar pretty much every day. And then the sage that you saw drawing, I have in my container right here, this container here. And it doesn't look very much different all dried out. It kind of looks like white sage, but in a different way. And I did burn one of these. I wanted to show you what it looks like when it's burnt. That's what it looks like as it's burning. Let's see if I can get a better close up. There you go. And it smells different too. It still smells like sage, and I think it has more of an earthy scent, whereas like white sage, it has a really sweet, weird scent to me. So I actually prefer this one. This is the first time I burnt it. I prefer this one to the white sage, so I'll probably start using this more than the white sage for just me personally. But I do keep it in a little lockdown jar that will be at my altar. And then one of the things that I have been collecting too is orange peels. I have an entire jar of orange peels because I've been eating a lot of oranges, and they smell really good too. But they are good for lots of different things, like at my altar and stuff like that. If I'm looking for protection, or if I'm looking for positivity, or something uplifting or sunny or sun related, anything at my altars and stuff like that, then I can add this to my altar to give it that upbeat feel that I'm looking for, either for the day or for the month or for whatever I'm doing. So I can also use it as offerings because they're biodegradable. So I did, when I picked the sage out at my property, I did also give back the orange that I was eating. So I peeled it all off with the intent of giving back. I knew it was biodegradable, and I knew the animals out there could use it. So I went ahead and left that out there in random spots where I had picked sage. So hopefully when I go back, the fairies are okay with it. Because you guys know me, I'm all about the fae. So that's what I do for my foraging. It's my first time foraging. It's my first time doing a lot of this stuff. I've only been doing most of my spirituality for about a year. And just getting into the herbs and whatnot. I got strawberries growing. I'm going to have peppers growing. I'm going to have carrots and radishes. And then a few other things that I plan to plant. And so later on this year, or this summer, at the end of the growing season, I will have other things that I can forage. And I want to forage like strawberry leaves too, because I heard those were really good for you. So I want to try some strawberry leaves as well as my regular strawberries. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a little bit of a challenge for me, but I think that it's something I do want to continue to do in the future. So if you haven't already, make sure you are checking out the, what is it now? I think it's 6 other channels. We just keep adding more that are participating in Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays, and they will be here at the end of this video in a playlist for Witchy Wisdom Wednesdays. So click on that. You can find all the Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays we've been doing for what, the last 7 weeks now? So pretty cool. There's lots of stuff in it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a very great day.